This is a public service announcement. This is a public service announcement. What you're about to listen to may make you yell, shout, smile, and even laugh out loud. Youth baseball players, coaches, and fans join the S.L.I.D.E podcast crew on their journey to make baseball fun again. Hear stories from players of all ages, plus tips and tricks from coaches and scouts. Now, if you're ready, give us a loud play ball.
Play ball.
There we go. All right, Lilah, was that good, or did we need to redo it?
I think it was good.
All right, cool. Well, you passed the test, Daniel. So good job. Well, welcome everybody back to the S.L.I.D.E podcast, and joining me tonight is our co-host, pretty much a mainstay on the show, is Lilah Brickwall Bratch. How are you doing, ma'am?
Doing good. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I am so sore right now, and before we get to our guest, I feel like I owe you a little bit about what happened at my first slow pitch softball tournament. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I just want to remind you, you gave me a lot of you didn't have a lot of confidence in me as I was making my venture for my first tournament. So Tripp didn't have any confidence in me. It was hard. I mean, you guys hurt me. I'm just kidding. All right. So we show up, we get there. There's a lot of these like big softball names that I'm not aware of, like dudes like 6'6", 6'8", like monster dudes. And Jeremy, the swing man. Have you ever heard of the swing man? So this dude is a world, I think he's ranked in the top 25 in like golf long ball hits, or whatever that's called. But the dude, he got drafted out of high school by the Orioles. He led his team in hitting, home runs, all this stuff. And then like his next spring training with the Orioles, he got cut for some reason. And we're going to have him on the show to discuss more, but dude hits, like his exit velo is like 99. And I don't know if that was just the highest he could hit it, or if that was the highest the machine was going to show it. So like I knew once I saw him just hitting in a cage, I was like, look, if this dude hits the ball at me, I'm not trying to get hurt. So like, I'm just going to move out of the way. It's going to be an error. It's probably going to be a run scored. I don't know. Anyway, so thankfully we never played his team. So, all right, Lilah, my first game was Saturday morning, 8 a.m. All right. So I don't like early mornings. I'm just not a big fan. So they had me there at 8 a.m. I get to meet all my teammates and stuff, and like dudes cracking alcoholic beverages 8 a.m. And I'm just like, all right, we got to play some games, like we might want to think about this, but it was fun. My first at bat. All right. There's rules are different in slow pitch softball. Are you aware of this? I wasn't either until my first at bat. All right. So this is some crazy stuff, Lilah. When you walk up to the plate in slow pitch softball, all right, what's the count, do you think? Like, what's the pitch count right there? Now, I know it's a crazy question to have to ask, right? So if there's a few pitches thrown, the pitch count, I mean, the oh my God, balls and strikes. I can't remember the term, but like, normally it's 0-0, right?
Yeah.
You haven't taken a pitch yet.
0-0.
No. Not in slow pitch softball. You walk up to the plate, it's 1-1. That's
so weird.
Yeah. All right. I didn't know this, right? I step into the box. I'm bend my knees. I'm in my baseball stance. All right. First pitch comes. What I think was a nice, smooth, level baseball swing. Missed it. I'm like, that's all right. I got to keep my eye on the ball, Next pitch comes. I feel like I get a little bit closer to it. I miss it. Umpire says, you're out. And I turn around and look at him, and I'm like, hey, dude, don't I get one more? Like, what happened? And he was like, nah, it's 1-1, man. I'm like, all right, well, then just don't even say it's 1-1. Just say you get 2
Yeah.
strikes and
Just
like
say
3
it's 2 strikes,
balls.
3 balls.
Like,
That
why are
makes
you
more
trying to
sense.
confuse me? Like, I feel like they did that intentionally just to confuse me, but maybe not. I mean, this was a stinger draft. So, all
Yeah.
right. So I strike out my first at bat. I was mic'd up. I was ready to brag, like call you out.
Yeah.
Yep. I was the only person that struck out that game. All right. So that made me feel good,
That's rough.
All right. Now, I only got one at bat at that game. Like, our team got run ruled. Now, look, I only had one at bat. I didn't make any errors in the field. I got a ball back in quickly, held a guy
Hold
to a
on.
single. What?
Okay, I was gonna say, were you even on the field? Because if you weren't on the field, then you can't make any errors. I was just wondering. No, I wasn't trying to
I
be
didn't
mean. I was
play
just
every
wondering.
inning. I didn't play every inning because everyone had to play. All right, so check this out. I'm gonna tell you about the rules of this specific tournament too. So, because this is a stinger draft, they wanted to do something a little bit different than just your normal softball tournaments, and apparently that whole 1-1 thing is consistent across all softball tournaments. When the first inning, the bases are loaded. All right, batter comes up, you start scoring immediately if he gets a hit. And the bases remain loaded until the other team gets an out. All right, so let's just say first batter up gets a single into the outfield, 2 runs score. All right, that's it. So batter now that got a single and the runner on second move up a base and they put another runner on the base. Next batter, it's a single, right? 2 more runs scored, got 2 runners on the base.
Yeah.
I mean, and then if you walk a batter with those bases loaded, 2 runs score, and then you load the bases again. Oh my God, it was.
That's confusing.
Oh my gosh! Like I should have prepared better, right? All right, my second at bat was the second game.
Yeah.
All right, I hit the ball, and as soon as I go to take my first step, the heel of my cleat, like my foot, comes out. So I'm trying to run, and my shoe's coming off. So finally, I just kicked the shoe off, and I beat out the hit. Like, I mean, it was like a scene from a movie. Like, I just heard like Eye of the Tiger playing in the background, and then I turn around, my wife's recorded it, and she's laughing like crazy at me. All right, the third at bat, this game, same thing. I hit a little ground ball in the infield. At least I'm making contact at this time now.
Yeah.
All right. I hit a little ground ball. Man, I'm trying to leg it out. And I go to like stretch that last step, and the ball gets there. I'm out, and my ankle twists as soon as I hit the base, and then I kind of roll. So I'm continuously adding entertainment for my team. I'm trying to keep their and then like I just tear like turf. I had turf burn all down my leg. What makes this even worse, Lilah, is Matt from Pro S.L.I.D.E was there. So the leg sleeves with the padding.
Yeah.
Well, he had sent me one. I had forgotten and left it at home.
Oh no.
Hold on. I'm not even done yet. He's there. He's like, oh, you forgot one. Let's go get you another one. Well, I get back. I run to the field. Like, I forget to put it on, and then I tear my leg up.
Oh my gosh.
I just couldn't catch a break. All right. Next game, I line drive a single into left field and redeem myself. And then it was back and forth, like ground balls. I have got to do so much more preparation and like to get ready, because you hit the ball at its highest point. You're supposed to. And I'm thinking I want the ball coming into my strike zone, and I need to stand up more. Like, it's a different game. It's a different game. So anyway, Lilah, Tripp said I was going to get folded. I don't know exactly.
Did you get folded?
I don't know exactly what that means.
Oh, you did get folded. You fell.
What does that mean?
Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, Do you know Eric Sim from Momentum?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he, like, every single time he tries to do a normal thing, he falls or, like, tumbles or something. They call it getting folded. Like, he swings too hard, legs give out, folded. Like, just
Oh no,
random things like
I
that.
didn't fall down in the box or nothing. I mean, I
Well,
did
not
fall
like
running to the base.
it's not specifically when you're hitting. It's like anytime you, like, fall or you tumble, it's just you got folded.
Whatever.
You got
That
folded.
that's all right. Whatever. Anything new with you that I can laugh at?
Nope.
See, now you're just holding back. There's something there, but it's okay. All right. Well, before we get into our guest tonight, I got to give a shout out to Stinger Sports, amazing partners of the show. Had a fun time at their grand opening, their new facility in Fort Mill, South Carolina. Awesome retail store. In the back, there's cages with hit tracks set up. There's actually a pitching section where they got mounds and really cool setup inside the building. And I'll say it was pretty awesome to be there for grand opening, and we recorded some content, and I got to get to editing that, but had a really fun time. Thanks to Stinger for inviting me to this softball event. And causing me to hurt myself. And I am so sore. Oh my gosh, I'm not in shape. So going to the gym, I'm going to get ready, and I'm coming back guns blazing, because I could take one of those balls yard, and I'm half the size of some of those guys. So no doubt I could take one out. But anyway, all right, let's get to our guest, Lilah, or you want to keep laughing at me?
Let's get to our guest. I'm done.
All right. Well, joining us tonight, Coach Daniel Marks Jr. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you guys tonight?
Well,
Doing
outside
good?
of, Lila's not sore. I'm sore. Hey, Lilah, I did play catcher though, and I had a dude like slide in really hard, and like I got him out. But anyway, so Lilah was a catcher, Daniel, so I have to, I did do some catching there. So anyway, Daniel, man, you join us from Miami area, right?
Yeah, Miami and Broward.
That's right, Lilah. Guess what we're going to be talking about. Anyway, so Daniel, man, so how we start the show with every guest is tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, there's so much for us to discuss, but tell our audience just a little bit about who we're about to get into a conversation with. And at the end of that, tell us what your favorite cereal is. I mean, I know you look similar in age as myself, a lot younger probably, but you've experienced some cereal over the days, and we want to hear what your favorite is. So, Lilah, what you laughing at?
That
you got a big old smile on your face. I don't think he's going to be yours. I don't think he's going to be mine either. So, all right, Daniel, go ahead.
All right. Well, Daniel Marks Jr., as you said, I'm strength and conditioning coach, master's degree in exercise science, youth national champion weightlifting coach. Got a bunch of different certifications as far as weightlifting and strength, speed, and conditioning is concerned. Coaching high school sports, coaching youth athletes, coaching professional athletes as far as, the strength and conditioning side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Just recently got a job at Miami Country Day School in Miami Shores, and I'm in charge with one other gentleman where he does a lot of the speed and agility work, and I do most of the strength and conditioning stuff inside the weight room.
Gotcha.
And we work pretty well together. It's been a long time coming to have somebody that I can work with. We're doing some really great things over there. We bring a lot of knowledge, from the professional world.
Yeah.
When it comes to training kids, considering the fact that, the youngest I've ever trained is about 5-6 years old.
Wow.
He was an elite tennis player. It's pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, it's an interesting world. I'm sure, Lilah, I don't know much about you, but how old are you?
I'm 13, turning 14.
Okay, so yeah,
I'm glad you said turning 14, because I was going to get confused and think you were going to be turning 15. Thank you for that, Lilah.
Well, I mean, like, I'm turning 14 soon. That's what I meant.
Whatever. I got to diss on you as much as I can tonight. So, all right, Daniel, keep it up.
But yeah, that's I do a lot of youth training. I chose to kind of revamp my whole entire strength and conditioning world. Focus on younger kids. Getting into college because it's a hard world, especially now with NIL deals. People are
Oh,
getting
yeah.
paid to train. Their own merchandise, marketing. There's a lot of different things that have gone over. That has kind of gone over the heads of some people in the last 5 to 10 years on how kids need to train, what they actually need to do. Do they have regular lives? Do they get to have fun anymore? There's a lot of different things that come into play when, kids are playing sports.
No doubt. No doubt. So much there to talk about. So leave us with what's that favorite cereal of yours?
Ooh, it might have to be Fruity Pebbles, man.
No.
I would have
Why? What do we
never
got?
predicted it.
How'd you
Lilah,
predict that?
I was thinking like something super healthy. I'm
I
thinking
was
like
thinking Raisin Bran. He looks like a
Raisin
raisin.
Bran.
He looks like a Raisin Bran guy.
okay,
No
I can see
way.
that.
I'm
Honey
not
Notes.
Raisin Bran is good. It's
Yeah.
not the best, but it's good.
That's
All
that's
right.
what you pictured me as?
Yes.
What about you, Aaron? What'd you think?
Fruity. Well, no, I was more of like Honey Oats and Crunch or honey, whatever that cereal, something healthy with some protein in it, some
That is a good.
fiber.
Come on now, man. Kids will always be kids. Remember that.
Hey, look, Fruity Pebbles is mine. We seriously have a heavy competition going on this show between Fruity Pebbles and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That is
Cinnamon Toast
Lila's.
Crunch.
Not
Yeah.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is not mine.
Oh,
Fruity or
you said Frosted
Frosted Flakes.
Flakes. Frosted
Frosted
Frosted.
Flakes.
See,
Flakes.
I can do some Frosted Flakes now too.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So it's more of a day-to-day thing.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll take just Fruity Pebbles on that one because that's what he said out right there front, Lilah. So he's going in that column. All right. So you guys, we normally have kids on this show. We're talking baseball, and tonight I wanted to actually spend some time maybe helping teach us why working out and getting into lifting and when that time comes and all of this different stuff that I know are on the minds of parents and players out there today. So Daniel, man, like, how did you get into this? Like, what made you decide as you were starting to join, college, to get into this world?
I mean, I wanted to coach, so
Mm-hmm.
one of the easiest things to do was to, find something in college related to coaching.
Mm-hmm.
The thing was, is I didn't really want to stick with one sport. I wanted to
Right.
kind of branch off into everything, because when I was younger, I did play a lot of different sports, like most of us,
Mm-hmm.
especially, like I said, we're probably similar in age. So, you did, these few months, you played baseball. These
It
few
was
months,
seasonals.
you played football. These few months, you played basketball. These few months, you played soccer. And we got to enjoy the basic fundamentals of every single sport. So
Yeah.
I kind of fell in love with that. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to retire as an athlete, not take my college scholarships that were offered to me and decide to take my academic scholarships, what am I going to do to be able to move forward with my life to where I can enjoy it, but still work, make money, do what I have to do, and basically travel around and get to spread the information and knowledge that I've obtained from both sports and school and kind of apply it to, kids nowadays and collegiate athletes, professional athletes, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, being a youth national weightlifting coach, like what exactly does that mean?
It's United States weightlifting. It's basically like travel organization.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball travel, basketball travel, soccer travel, clubs and stuff. They
Mm-hmm.
do United States weightlifting created an organization where you can have a club and you go out and you compete in the traditional Olympic lifts, which is snatch and clean
Oh,
and jerk. which, as you can tell, if you look behind me a little bit, I kind of set up to where, you can kind of get a little bit of oversight of what I call my weightlifting wall of fame. There
you go. That's impressive. So talk to me about, so from a youth perspective, what should a parent, or when should a parent start really thinking about getting their athlete into weightlifting? I've been heard there's, you're really not lifting heavy until you're a little bit older. I've heard so many different philosophies. What's your thoughts around that? Obviously, you've trained a 5-year-old, so what does that look like for a kid?
One of the main things that I tell parents and athletes and other coaches, or even, for instance, on a podcast like yours, is if your kid's in travel sports at a young age and their attention span is longer than 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and they're going to practice 2 to 3 times a week for a couple hours a day, they're doing skill development work, which I'm sure we're probably going to tap on in a little bit further down on this. They should be strength training. They should be doing speed and agility training. Now, what does that look like? It doesn't look like, your professional baseball or professional football or professional basketball style training. It's more so for their agility, their balance, their coordination, making sure they can step left foot, right foot, make sure they can move left to right. Because when they're going out and they're playing so many games, so many tournaments, they need to be able to move correctly. And then them growing, being a youth athlete and just a youth and adolescent normally, they need to develop correctly. Bad posture, different types of knee and elbow movements and shoulder movements, the way that they stand, if they're able to create a balanced person, they're going to be better as an athlete. So I basically tell them, as soon as their attention span can stay longer to where they can understand what a strength and conditioning specialist is telling them, that's when they should start.
Gotcha. Lilah, that's some good stuff. Are you balanced?
Yeah, I think so. I'd like to say so myself.
Okay. All right. I'm just checking on you there. Well, I think, because that's one of the things about playing multiple sports. Obviously, we talk a lot around travel baseball, travel softball, but there's so many kids that are committing to a sport at such a young age. I feel like that's where a lot of injuries come from. And Daniel, what's your thoughts? If I'm playing baseball, 24/7, 12 months out of the year, how should I take care of my body? Because there's a lot of our kids that listens to this show that do play baseball year round. What would be your advice for those kids not to outwork their arm and to take care of their body?
They need to do something different than their sport. That's one of the biggest things. And that doesn't mean stop playing, stop going to practice, stop doing skill development. They need a program to where they can assist what they're doing.
There you go.
So them going to skill development during their main gist of their season, sure. But when they're not heavily into their in-season games, they should be going to something else, like maybe a different sport, maybe a strength and conditioning coach, maybe something other than them actually using their brain for their sport as well. Go to a birthday party, get away from, go to a museum, do something that allows them to train other aspects of themselves in order for them to be able to play at a much higher level.
Yeah. I mean, and I think, as you're bringing up birthday parties and museums. Like, it's just honestly find a way to detach from the game and know that life don't revolve around what happens on a baseball field or a softball field, right, Lila? I mean, like
Mhm.
you played basketball. What else do you
Yeah.
play? Anything else?
I play basketball. I don't play flag football, but right now my school does a tournament where it's like they play flag football, like all the students play flag football against each other in a
Mm-hmm.
game. So I'm doing that right now. I have played flag football before, like in a league,
Mm-hmm.
and that's mostly the main like three, but I mostly do baseball, but I do other things.
Yeah. I mean, I think teaching your body different ranges of motion, different
Mhm.
types of motion. And one of the things that I noticed, Daniel, was, your masters in exercise science and human movement. Like, what's that extra little specialty there in the human movement part?
It encompasses everything. So kinesiology, physiology, kinematics, kinesia, just basic movements of the body, and
Hmm.
and watching how people adapt as they change and go through different types of exercises and different types of movements.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. Anytime I think injury for baseball, I'm thinking shoulder, arm, I mean, just,
Elbow.
yeah. I
Yep.
mean, and like, I have to feel like, Daniel, that if my arm was stronger from a core perspective, well, my core is stronger, my arm is, my range of motion, like that's, I think bands come into play there, but like what you were saying earlier, and I think this is a good time to bring it up, is like skill training. Like, how does weightlifting help skill training? So you train Preston Chapman,
Yeah.
and that's how we kind of got connected. Preston's a dog on the baseball field. How does your coaching with him help him take his skill level to a higher level on the field?
He's more well rounded. So basically, it's a crazy concept, but there's a lot more people that are understanding the crazy concept. I mean, he's currently at a tournament right now for baseball,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but in exactly 1 month, because I believe that today's the 10th. Yeah, in about 27 days, we go to Tucson, Arizona for the USA Weightlifting American Open Finals. He just recently qualified for that. That also gave him qualification numbers for him to qualify for everything next year as it pertains to USA weightlifting. Now, again, I told you the two main lifts that they do are the traditional Olympic lifts, which is the snatch and the clean and jerk. Now, everybody's probably thinking, if they know Preston, dog on the baseball field, he's also a pitcher. Well, he's doing a movement called the snatch. If nobody's familiar with it, you can probably see a few of them on the back here somewhere. Uh, and that's basically bar goes from the ground directly over your head.
Yep.
And now one of the major things that, people have discussed, they still debate upon it, is anything overhead good for pitchers? Don't put anything over the head. Don't use a barbell. Don't use things barbell long, mostly
Mm-hmm.
dumbbells people are using. Yeah, not the way it works. If you watch, and again, like you said, we'll get into a little bit of the skill development. Look at Paul Skeens, his warm
Yep.
up as a pitcher. He
Yeah,
does
the
a lot
water
of,
bags, huh?
yes, he does a
Yeah,
lot of,
I was about to say that.
yeah, he does a lot of reverse stuff. So
Mhm.
instead of actually throwing, he does reverse things, which is better for your actual shoulder and upper body because most of the things that you're using to produce that force and that velocity is coming from your legs and your back. So the idea is if you're training the backside of your body, the better off you're probably going to be when it comes to your throwing mechanics and all of the stuff that you're doing. If you're good in your neck and your, traps and your upper shoulder area and region, you're probably going to be less likely to hurt your shoulder. Any type of movement that involves locking your elbows out and moving them back and forth, aka the snatch movement, again, under supervision of somebody who teaches you the correct way to do things, it's only going to benefit you.
Yeah. Like, and I think, with kids, I'm thinking elbows, shoulders, all those fun things. Let's just say the arm and the shoulder. But as you get older, I've seen so many Major League Baseball players just constantly have back issues. And you mentioned the word earlier, and I think is so important, which is posture. And I feel like having bad posture ultimately gives your body more things that it has to teach to overcome, causing eventually other issues. Did that make any sense?
Of course it does. And the
Okay.
thing about it is when you do Olympic lifting, a lot of the stuff does go over your head. So in order to
Yep.
be able to put something over your head, your posture's got to be completely upright.
That's right.
If your chest isn't upright, if you're not actually sitting up with the shoulders back and you have all of your center of mass directly over the center of your body, you're going to struggle as a weightlifter. So the best thing that you can actually do is train these types of lifts. They also are predominantly found now in high school training sessions. They're predominantly found in collegiate sessions, the power cleans, the hang cleans, all these different types of movements where the bar basically goes from the ground to the shoulders. And most of the time they'll put it down because they won't put anything over their head. But for a sport like Olympic weightlifting, in order to be able to be good at the sport, you have to actually finish the movement, which is putting it over your head. So, getting into Preston, for instance, he's a multi sport athlete, not just baseball,
Yep.
plays football. He's also a track and field runner and long jumper, I believe. And his dad has a very good regiment for him on how he operates in between all of those things based upon mine and his conversation on what Preston should and shouldn't be doing. And he'll go from having his pitching skill development to coming in here and doing all of his Olympic movements, all of his rehabilitation stuff that we work on, different types of stability exercises, basic push-ups even.
Right.
Because here, I'll give you a good one. Lilah, I got a question for you. How many good quality push-ups? Push-ups. And again, I'm going to say this because I even have some of my newer athletes that I'm working with at the high school now. They're like, "Oh, we do girl push-ups." I don't say girl push-ups. I just say push-ups.
Yeah.
Because girls and boys, men and women, a push-up is a push-up. Now, you can do a modified push-up, which is something on your knees, an
Yeah.
incline. You can do all that, but it's not girl push-ups. Like I
No.
coach and train female athletes, girls. I don't like that term, but again, my question to you is: how many good quality push-ups can you do right now?
Right now, I don't like in a row without stopping.
Oh
In a
yeah.
row, let's say down, up, down, up, down, up. How many could you
I
do like
think
that?
probably 25 to 30 clean.
25 to 30.
Mhm.
I would love, here you go, Aaron. This is a good one for you. I would love to eventually see her do that. That might be
Love to
I'll
see
something
film a
that too.
video. I
that
got you. I'll film a video.
that
Look,
that is
and
something
that's where
because
posture.
yes, I will tell you the reason why though is that it's not a knock against you. Most regular adults can't even do more than about 15 to 18 push-ups in a row like that.
If they
Adults.
can do two. I mean, like,
Some of them can't even do two, but I'm saying
yeah.
Aaron,
on
Aaron, you're
average,
speaking for yourself over here.
No, 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 no.
uh-oh.
Listen, I listen. You and I can. I'll film a video as well, and I'll put my son, who is 9 years old, right beside me and watch him knock out 40, 45.
Okay.
There
Like,
you go.
so, like, I honestly, Daniel, like, we started something about 2 years ago, and we started doing push-ups every night before we would go to bed,
There
and
you
because I
go.
wanted to teach him how to do a proper push-up, you know, balance shoulders, how to balance the weight, I just wanted him to understand that. And, at first he and I both, like, it was a struggle to get to 10 just because I was out of shape. And, within 2 weeks we were knocking out 15 to 20 easy every night. And like, it's seriously like so much. There's so many kids that I'll see at tournaments and I'll talk to, and I know, and I'm like, how many push-ups can you do? Like, I see you hitting with power, but how many push-ups can you do? And I can't get them to get 5 out. And I'm like, if you just trained your body instead of playing that video game, put the phone down and challenge yourself to see how many push-ups you can do consistently and the right way. Like you can cause injuries, I mean, in weightlifting in general, with bad posture, not lifting correctly, but like just being able to push your own weight is I think everyone should focus on doing something like that. Sorry, I'm ranting.
Nah, you're good. It's actually a game changer. What I do with my athletes, and it's not even a challenge, it's just a weekly requirement that I ask of them.
Mm-hmm.
We do 3 to 5 times a week of 50 to 100 push-ups. So we're averaging, minimum 150 a week, all the way up to 500 a week. And let me tell you something. That's both male and female. And I mean, I've had females that can bust out 40 in a row and not even think twice about it. And that's just the additional work. And what I try and explain, and I actually posted something on social media because I'm not a huge social media poster, and I don't put a lot of stories up. I'll throw up reels here and there, try and promote, the athletes that I work with, not even necessarily, myself or anything. But when I do find something or come across something that's really good, I saw a post that said, people will spend 30 minutes, 2 hours on fixing and monitoring their swing, but they can't go run a 6-minute mile. It's 6 minutes. And at worst, maybe it's 15 minutes. But they won't go out and they won't get a mile out of their system, but they'll spend 2 hours, working on, like Lilah, for us, is probably, 2 hours of catching drills. And she would have no problem with doing that. But I guarantee you, and it's probably not her, considering she could do 25 or 30 push-ups in a row from what she's saying. But I guarantee you there's a lot of others, because I've worked with some softball programs and even some girls that have gone on to play collegiate softball. And at one point in time, they couldn't do 5 push-ups. And getting them to run was even more of a challenge. We used to run pole to poles. Like I can give you, pole to pole. We would do back and forth like 25 sets of it because they never ran. And then watching them run sometimes was a terrible view because the body mechanics is rough. And I'm sure Lilah watches a lot of running. If she's a catcher, she's watching a lot of running, and there's a lot of running coming at her too, and it probably doesn't look good. So it's one of those things that, if they were to go out and just take a little bit more time, they would the injuries wouldn't happen so much. So like for instance with Preston and a lot of my other athletes too, but for Preston, there's days where he'll come in here and we may have lined up for him, a heavy lifting day, but the last few days he's gotten beaten up at practice a little bit. Maybe, his skill stuff was struggling a little and he just needs some maintenance and some rehabilitation work. So we'll do like balance, training, coordination work, some rotation stuff, kind of similar to what you would see Paul Skeens warming up with. That's one of the easiest ways to be able to kind of have somebody picture it now is you see it, the water jug, the rotations, the reverse tossing, throwing a football. There's a lot of things that we do that are away from the sport. So it can keep you actively engaged with the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah. This is your turn. What questions you got for Daniel?
All right. So I know you coach a lot of athletes, but is there any specific sport that you specialize in training?
Right now, see what I've done. That's a good question because over the last, I've coached, I do strength and conditioning for all sports. I'm a strength and conditioning coach, like I said, at Miami Country Day, along with my other, strength and conditioning specialist over there, Eris, Otoa. Shout out to him. I'm sure he'll probably watch this and repost it. Guy's great. He's done wonders over at that school, but we're expanding it. So we're actually building a multi-million-dollar athletic facility over there. And we're the ones that are going to kind of help spearhead it, in order to get all the athletes, which are kindergarten through 12th grade. We have all of the sports from, like I said, it's a K through 12. So as young as, 8, 9, 10 years old, we're working with over there, which is really nice. But my specialization that I wanted to do after COVID, I decided to kind of focus more on just Olympic weightlifting. So I opened up my weightlifting club, and like I said, my wall back here is just weightlifting. That's all weightlifting. You can kind of see some of our national medals that we've won. Over in the corner over here, you could see just a little bit of the first national medals that we won. That was actually should have been what, 15. So a little bit older than you. She was my first national medalist. So we kind of put it up in a plaque. They kind of donate their medals, and we put up pictures of all of them in here. And I kind of got away from privatized training, because here it is, a lot of skills coaches have taken away, and I don't really want to say taken away, but they now,
Distracted.
no, they kind of say I am the all-in-one trainer. So they get strength and conditioning and speed and agility confused with skill development. I don't do skill development here. I am not your catching skills coach. I will not teach you how to catch, Lilah, at all. But you want to know what? I will teach you how to position your body better, so your skills coach can teach you more things about catching.
Unlocking your body's potential. Like
Yeah,
that's how I.
yeah, basically what it is. And nowadays, there's skills coaches that have, and again, a lot of people are afraid to say it, but I won't. Skills coaches are trying to do what I do, and that's kind of not. So with Preston, for instance, I got him to understand, and his father to understand, that skills are skills, development is development. So you need to you need to take your skill stuff and put it into one box. You need to put your development, so your muscular development, your neuromuscular development, and put it in another box. And then you need those little boxes to go for each sport that you're doing. And
I think it
basically
makes
what I did
perfect
was,
sense.
yeah, I moved mostly my privatized training for athletes is now just Olympic weightlifting. I get kids of all different sports. They also have now put in weightlifting as one of their additional sports.
Very cool. Like, so thinking about like the youth side of things, I mean, obviously each kid, their body matures, their body develops at different rates. Um, and as they're going through puberty, right? How can you help their body? Because I see so many kids that haven't hit that puberty mark yet, and they're doing skills training so much. Like, do you as a strength and conditioning coach, are you mindful of like the puberty stages and the growth spurts and stuff like that as you do
Yeah,
your
what
training?
my background is growth plate development,
There
and
you go.
making sure that their growth plates are being protected. Because one of the biggest myths that people talk about and discuss is, oh, if kids lift weights, they're it's gonna stunt their growth. It's gonna make them, underdevelop. But in reality, growth plate specialization is really simple. Keep the muscles and joints healthy. Make sure you don't damage a growth plate. A lot of the times, growth plate damage comes from you getting slid into at home and they break your leg. That's a lot of the times where your growth plates will be damaged. If you have somebody who specializes in strength and conditioning, especially training youth athletes, they understand that the development process is really easy. Basic push-ups, basic sit-ups, basic squats. proper technique and movement between those things is going to make a huge difference for, the development of a child. Like I said, if you could do more than 10 push-ups, you're already on your way to being successful at this, because it's going to aid muscle growth and development. And I can give you, one of the biggest examples is, where, and it's unfortunate yesterday they lost, but the University of Miami, for instance, the
Tell
University
me
of
about it.
Miami's, yeah, like, sorry about it. Like, this is why I'm not a fan of specific teams. I'm a fan of my athletes and the people that I've worked with. So, prime example is Mark Fletcher. Mark Fletcher worked with me when he was 8, 9 years old. And
What do you
he,
hold on. Please, I want you to continue. But Lilah, what are you laughing at? Because Miami lost?
No, I'm laughing because you're so mad that he's a University of Miami fan. I think it's hilarious.
All right, talk about Mark Fletcher some more. He's a
that,
good running back.
yeah, great running back. And when
Powerful.
powerful. When he was a youth athlete, they had one of the best teams in the entire country. They were national champions. Shout out to the Plantation Wildcats. Plenty of them. Most of them went over to American Heritage High School
Mm-hmm.
in
Yep.
Plantation. Anybody knows them? Powerhouse in football, powerhouse in
Well,
baseball. They're,
sure.
softball teams, very good. Pretty much I could say, powerhouse, at a particular times for that too.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked with a lot of their athletes, especially, Mark Fletcher. He was a small kid. Everybody knew he was talented. Everybody knew he was good. But when you do 5 years of, strength and conditioning, body weight training, light medicine balls, stability, balance, and coordination stuff, it's really nice to be talented and, a little powerful, on your own end, genetics and everything. But when you add in somebody tossing a medicine ball to you or pushing you with a medicine ball, when you go out there, 10, 11 years old, and somebody goes and kind of makes contact with you and you don't move, and that person moves 5 feet, everyone's like, oh my God, what is he actually doing? All he was doing was strength and conditioning. And then it
Hmm.
transitioned right into high school and then transitioned right into college. And I was lucky enough to be able to go talk to Coach Feld at the University of Miami. And he said Mark Fletcher had such a great foundation of strength and conditioning that he is excelling so much in their program. It's quite scary. And he's just now
Just a
starting.
sophomore.
Yeah, he's just now starting to get in there, and they have all those other running backs. And for sure, as long as he stays healthy and does all the things that he's learned and the things that they're doing over there, he's going to get to the league.
Hmm.
He's going to have that. But he's one of the prime people that I speak about
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to all of this, because his father and his family and the people around them kind of got linked up with me just by chance and changed a lot of those kids' lives, and now they're all playing big time Division 1, Division 2 football. And it has a lot to do with, obviously, them being attentive and understanding that they can do these types of things, and then doing a program that works correctly.
Right.
Hmm.
To me, it just makes sense, right? Like, in order to swing the bat, like, you can cause so much damage in swinging a bat with the velocity that we see these hitters swinging with. And if they don't have that basic core muscle structure, and like that, to me, it feels like where injuries come from. So,
Hmm.
um, all right, let's just say I got a kid out there, and he wants to start hitting home runs. Like, that's just all his parents talk about. His parents tell him they're going to give him $100 when he hits his first home run. So his mind is set. I've seen this, and that's why I'm kind of specific about it. It's in his head now. He needs to hit home runs. As a strength and conditioning coach, how are you now approaching a kid that power is his priority?
He needs to squat. She needs to squat. That's one of the biggest things, and squat correctly.
All
And
right,
then
why squatting?
because
I'm talking. I
everything
want my arms. I need to have huge biceps, right?
that's what everybody thinks, but in
Right.
reality, that's more so for a male gymnast. Male gymnast needs that because they do the iron cross. They need to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that that particular muscle is the things that it's the muscle that is going to be doing a lot of the work.
Right.
So what happens is yeah, biceps are great to train, looks good, the forearms for your grip strength and everything. But I mean, and I'm sure Lilah, Aaron, you probably heard this hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. How many, how many actual hitting coaches talk about where the power comes from? Where does it come from?
All of them. Your legs. The
It comes from
ground.
the
The good
legs.
ones. That's the good ones
The
talk
good
about that.
ones. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
And you know where it actually stems from? It stems from your feet. You have to
Mhm.
have a good foundation.
Ground pressure.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the ground, contact to the floor, the
Yeah.
pressure put back up into it, transitions all of that momentum into your legs, all the way. Basically, layman's
Mhm.
terms. We can go science and all that, but I like to keep it simple for people. You're pushing
Yeah.
into the ground, and if you use those legs correctly and you transition that power and that energy up into your torso, get that torque, get that rotation, get all of those things going. Then you add in all of, the correct with the elbows, the hands, all the placement, and you get that good rotation. You'll
Mhm.
have tremendous success with your power and explosion. And then you don't even have to rotate that bat so hard because you've produced so much power that it can literally just snap and boom, you're gone.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw it this weekend with Swingman Jeremy. Like it, the ball would just fly off his bat, but he didn't have this like ginormous, monstrous swing. Like I
It
mean,
looked
seriously,
effortless, right? It
right?
looked
It
effortless.
looked like that ball went that far off that swing. I mean, look, Shohei. I have to imagine Shohei is heavily involved into his body and investing into that because his swings look in some cases effortlessly. Just I mean, you can see it in some athletes and some I sometimes question, but
There's
um,
there's
I,
very few, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. There's very few great power hitters or any sport in general, considering, like I said, I train everything, but I'm gonna try and cater, obviously to baseball and softball here.
mhm.
Any power hitter, any power pitcher, anybody who can literally throw a frozen rope from center to home, they probably do some extent of strength training. They have to. Not all of it is genetically, gifted. Not all of it is genetically talented movements. You have to do those things in order to be successful at them. And I know that because going way back when I was a lot younger, I trained Manny Ramirez. Manny,
Oh,
yeah, Manny Ramirez was the coolest dude in the world because he would come in, he would hit all his legs, his upper body real quick. He did what he wanted to do, but he did the necessities to work for him, and then he spent hours in the cage. And all he did was work on his craft, work on his craft, work on his craft. But he always came in and did all of the work necessary in the weight room. The only thing that you could never get him to do is run. He never wanted to do any speed and agility stuff. He's like, no, 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 Papi, no, 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 I'll be right back. I'll be right back. And
He
next thing,
he doesn't need to run. He hits all the bombs. You just get to jog.
that was his whole explanation. He would leave for like an hour and a half, and next thing you know, you'd have no idea where he was. He said he was going to use the baño. He'd be like, "Yo, baño," and then yeah, he said no, bye, and then would come back like 2 hours later while I'm eating lunch, and all of a sudden you're hearing, and all he's doing, he's cracking that bat, man, inside the cage, and it was the craziest thing because you're right, Lilah. He did not have to run because he was always so precise with his strength and conditioning, and then his batting skills.
I think there's a lot of kids that get really intimidated by the squat rack. I was one of them. Like when I was in school, it intimidated me. Tell me if I'm an athlete, right? What does that look like? Like, why is squatting so important? Hold on one second. My dogs are barking. Rabbit. I'm saying a weird word now, just so I know how to go back edit. Rabbit. Let me get my wife on this stuff. We got it. All right. So anyway, so the squat rack. Like, what is squatting going to help me from a athlete perspective?
It's the foundation and the basis of every movement. That everything you need starts from your power position or basically a mini squat. And the crazy thing is like it's one of the first things that I said, but my athletes don't squat very much.
Mm-hmm.
We squat only during times that we have a long enough time off of our actual season, so whatever sport they're playing, in order to really gain the benefits of it. Because
Okay.
that becomes the problem, is that the the biggest thing about strength and conditioning is the programming. If your programming isn't right for the time of what you're doing, it doesn't matter how good of a strength and conditioning coach you are. You know, you could be the best coach on the planet, teach somebody how to squat perfectly. But if you don't know how to put it into play, like it's not going to work for you. You know, doing a heavy maximal squat just because you want to see it may not be good, you know, a day before your first game of the World Series. And there's a lot of the funny thing is there's a lot of coaches out there, skills coaches, that are probably great skill development, you know, developmental coaches, but they're like, oh, well, we're going to add in the strength and conditioning side of it and basically not take care of the athlete because it looks good on paper and it makes my session an hour long because that's what we need to do. So we're going to focus, you know, 20 minutes on the skill side of things, and then I'm going to make them do lunges for the next 30 minutes because it's easier to do, and it's very they mask it very well.
Well, and
And
that's why again it's so important to have an off season, like
yep.
to really train your body. Like having that's what you see in all the professional athletes. Like
Yeah, why
they're not
and why is that? That's something that people have tend to forget. Now, here's where that is also a pretty interesting topic as well, because back when, you know, and I have no problem putting my age out there. I'm 37.
okay.
You know, I'm 37. I mean, 20 to 25 years ago, you know, when I was 12, you know, to 17 years old, nobody wanted to get strength train at all. It wasn't like really a thing. But the
Hmm.
people who were being successful were the ones that were in the weight room and they were doing all of that stuff. But we also had a lot more athletes, which is why I love the school that I'm at now.
Hmm.
Is I have athletes that are multi-sport athletes. They bounce from sport to sport to sport because we're a smaller private school. You know, we don't have that many kids that go to the school that are in middle school and high school. I think in total we have from K through 12, I think about 1,400 students.
Okay.
So you're talking about K through 12, you know, that's maybe, you know, a couple hundred kids per grade level.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're playing everything. So I had a girl that was swimming and now she's on the softball team and she's also on the soccer team. And these are things that allow them to have an off season by default because now they're using different muscles, they're using different things. So you're going from swimming, which is non-impact, you know, you're in the pool, to now going to soccer, and now you're getting impact. You know, you're running, you're putting yourself on the you know, on the turf, you know, on the grass, depending upon, like, we have turf. So,
Yep.
you know, the turf, we have to cycle them on and off the track to the turf and then taking them off entirely and bringing them into the gymnasium or bringing them up in the weight room a little bit more often because, you know, multiple, you know, impacts on the turf, you know, affects how their body is, you know, damaged over time. So we really have to make sure that that's being taken care of, because they play so many different sports. But again, back to what you're saying, it gives us the opportunity to get them into an off season, so they can recover, they can learn different techniques and different methods of growing in their sport, and then, like you said, they can grow and mature. It gives them the ability to build their muscles, build, the muscles around the joints in particular, for them to be successful athletes. So they don't tear an elbow, tear a knee, tear a shoulder, and I say that in general terms, all the different areas that you can actually do that. But, it's major in female sports. Female sports are one of the bigger ones, just because once they start going through puberty, with their menstruation cycle. That's a whole nother topic that we can discuss, that a lot of people don't truly understand. They don't get it. And as a strength and conditioning professional who went to school for it and understands these types of things, and even now a lot of women becoming strength and conditioning coaches and being in the more top levels of things, they're now starting to voice these things that people have been studying over time, to understand how to correctly train or safely train female athletes in female sports.
Okay, I have to ask, and maybe I don't know if you're aware of what he was just referring to, but how does the this is so weird. We're talking about menstruation cycles, but how does that affect the body, in as from your perspective? Did you hear me?
You talking to me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, no.
Yeah,
I thought you were referring to
rabbit.
Lila. But
No.
yeah, no,
We're
no.
good.
As far as like female athletes are concerned, that's a major thing, because it affects their attitude. It affects how much they can put on a barbell, for instance. They get leg fatigue. Their body doesn't feel well. They want to lie down. Maybe their iron is a little bit low. They have a lot of things that transpire within a month to month cycle for them, that men don't have, that they don't go through. So we don't know what it's like to wake up with complete leg fatigue, to where they can't actually perform. So when you hear a female athlete claim, not claim, when they say that they were on their menstrual cycle, or there was something that was occurring and they were playing, wow, I give it up to them, because cramping in your stomach, and leg fatigue where you can't walk or move, and them being able to perform at a higher optimal level, is just tenfold way better than you could ever imagine, which is why I enjoy training female athletes,
Mhm.
because they tend to push through a lot more than a male athlete would.
I believe that totally. That's great information though. Like I think that is, I think honestly that's something that you know even the boy baseball players need to understand. Like just how much like women do have to like think about and consider and deal with in some cases, right, Lila?
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean Lila plays. She's a baseball player, and so she's out there with the boys, and so Lila, I give it up to you. I'll get instead of clowning you and laughing at you about something. Look, I have to applaud you on that one. So, all right, Lila, questions? You have
Mm-mm.
any questions? No.
I'm
Um,
good.
you mentioned something like we could seriously go for 2 hours. You mentioned something earlier, and I was really interested in your perspective. NIL, like how much of you like that's changing everything. Like for youth athletes, I mean, for specifically for youth athletes, because you're seeing some of these kids actually start to sign some NIL deals. Like I know that it's out of the world of weightlifting for this question, but what are you seeing with NIL?
Well, I'm in Florida, and they're giving NIL deals to high school athletes now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. And like, I mean, we can talk for hours on this and people will debate it, you know, for a long time coming. I think it's going to slow down. I think there's going to be a lot more sanctions on it eventually.
There should
Just it's, and I don't necessarily think that there should be. It's just you have to uphold a contract. So now you're getting paid for particular things, you know, and a lot of it's more so right now of, you know, advertising on social media. You know, wear my product and you'll do this. You know, send this post out 3 times a week and we'll take care of, you know, such and such for you. The problem that I have with it is you really have to understand what you're doing with it.
Well,
No,
I think
nobody.
that's the biggest issues is parents are doing these things without the full understanding of what they're actually signing away.
Well, I mean, I see it in not only that, but I see it more so, you know, in my world of like privatized training is I don't want my athlete to be filmed or recorded. You should be paying me. And I mean, no, I'm paying you with my education. I'm paying, you know, you by getting your child, you know, healthier and in better shape.
Yep.
And the other thing would be is, oh, well, what are you going to do for me? I'm going to, you know, repost your story. What are you actually going to do for me? You know, one of my favorite things that I like to do, you know, my weightlifting wall of fame, people tend to get this, you know, a little bit mixed up when they first walk in here or they talk to me about it. This wall is for 2 reasons. One is to showcase my weightlifters. That's all it is. It's my give back to everybody else. So you're only going to see it when you come in here and all that stuff. But you know, the donated medals, because there's multiple medals that go with this. Like some of them donated all 3, as you can see here. This is all one person. So other than that, I say they're basically on donation for, you know, display. Anytime they want to take them back, they're more than welcome to. But they come with multiple things. That's to showcase how good our club is. That's to showcase how good they are. And then the second thing is the pictures are actually my memories, which is kind of funny because, you know, there's not a lot of people that'll sit here, or there are, let me rephrase that. There are people that will take credit for everything that people do. I don't take credit for anything my athletes do, but what I do take credit for is what I've done for them. So these are my memories for what we've done together. But again, it's on display for everybody to be able to see. And it's cool because I'll ask them, say, hey, you know, if anybody happened to get photographs, you know, of your stuff, send them to me so we can put them up on the wall so you can remember it. But these are just clearly for them. But it's, again, the NIL back and forth deal now is this is my kind of ode to them. But at the same time, this is the way it used to be before people were actually trying to ask for money, or they'll ask for discounts of training, which is you can now get into the whole other thing. Hey, you're a great athlete. Come and train with me. All my athletes pay me. It's my education. It's how I make my living. It's what I do. Like, I don't discount myself because I'm worth a particular amount. And, you know, I don't blame the athletes either, because if there's a coach or a parent that could potentially make money out of this stuff, I don't blame them at all for, you know, wanting NIL deals, you know, because as you can tell, I'm advertising right now, and that's the way it is. I'm advertising back here, but I'm also advertising for United States weightlifting. I'm also advertising again for United States weightlifting. And that's part of my give back to them, being a member of their organization, being a member of their community, being, you know, a club affiliated, you know, weightlifting team with them. Like, these are a lot of things. Same thing when you do, you know, all of your advertisements and everything that you have going on. Same thing with Preston, you know, that does all his things that he does and his own merchandise. I mean, he has his own actual merch, which
I've seen,
Listen, I suggest people doing that all day long. Sell it.
Yep.
Do what you want to do because that's your name. That's your image. Those are your things that you do. Same thing with my stuff. I always wear everything. And if it's not noticeable, I mean, eventually you'll see it because it's somewhere on me. Like I
Yeah.
always
Well,
have it. Even if I'm going out normally, I always, because that's the way I market and advertise.
same way. Like I'm either wearing. I work for also the Savannah Bananas, so I'm either always in something banana related or S.L.I.D.E podcast related, and that's honestly, like you said, I'm proud of it as well. Like
Yep.
you are. Like you're proud of the things that you've accomplished, and I'm proud of what we've been able to build. So
Yep. You can even see it behind me
no,
too, kind of.
yeah, yep.
That's all of our all of like my coaches' passes and everything of all the places that we've been at.
Mm-hmm.
And they're up
I
for
mean,
show for everybody to be able to see and the stuff that we do.
yeah. I mean, you know what's really, and I've read some articles about this recently, is how AI is going to play a role in NIL deals. Lilah, can you imagine how would AI play a role in an NIL deal? Do you know? So AI now, let's just say you sign a contract, NIL. Do you know what it stands for, Lilah?
I know what it is, but I don't know what it stands for.
All right. So name, image, and likeness.
Mm.
Right. So if someone uses your name to sell something, that's
Mhm.
name. If someone uses your picture or your video or, just things in that nature, that's where the NIL comes from. But AI,
Mhm.
I've started to see some commercials where the athlete that's advertising something is a AI generated image. And so that's going to play a big role because now we all have AI, right? Who's to
Mhm.
say I can't use, your image in an AI form to advertise something? And it's
Yeah.
dangerous. It's dangerous, but that's a whole nother call. So,
What I
but
got a
Daniel,
good one. I got a good
yeah.
one for you too. Is you use Instagram? We've
Hmm.
already signed our life away with that one. Is anything that we post, it's not our own. All the
Yep.
stories, everything that we've put on there, they own all of that.
That's
At any
right.
point in time, if they want to use it, they can. So
Mhm.
basically, anything, and I'm sure Lilah, you got it too. As well.
Mhm.
You're all over social media, just like most of us are nowadays, and anything that you put on there is there. So I'm also very
Yep.
particular in what I use and what I put on there. But the moment it becomes a post or a reel or a story or something in the likeness of being on social media, because again, I use Instagram mostly, as my social
Mhm.
media platforms, that it's all theirs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's people who are monetizing it and getting paid for it, but there's other people who aren't. And
Yep.
Instagram's making all of that money, not us.
Hmm. Yep. Well, I mean, and that's the whole saying is once you put it on the internet, it's not coming off. Because
Yep.
it's
Mhm.
not yours to I mean, you've shared it, so you just got to keep that in mind when you put something up there, you have shared, and now they have the ability to do what they want to with it as well. So
Mhm.
all right, man. Well, we're getting towards the end of our show here. So, Daniel, dude, I think it would be cool for you to come back and like guest host with us as well, and like talk to some athletes about just their regimen of working their body and training their body. I think it would be really cool to have that kind of effect with some of our athletes. Um,
I'm down to
but
be a regular.
yeah, I'd love it, man. But we can't let you get out of here until we ask our last question.
Uh oh.
And that's it is, Lilah. It's usually our hardest question, I feel
Yeah.
like. Yeah. Lilah, you wanna do the honors?
Yep.
All right,
All right.
take it away.
So pretend right now you're at the baseball field. Just visualize it right now. Walk it up to the plate. What song's playing? What's your walk-up song?
What's my walk up song?
Or what would
Wow.
it be?
What would it be? It's actually, can we even put some of these things up on this?
Oh
That's
yeah.
my question here. That's my question.
Yeah.
Can we actually do that? So
Oh
now
yeah.
here I'll go with a complete throwback. I actually, when was it? It was Saturday because we had weightlifting training because, like I said, we're coming up to the American Open Finals. I have 8 athletes going. We should be medaling. We should be coming home with some really good things. And right when we finished up practice, I put on my all-time favorite song. So when I'm walking up to the plate, I'm putting on Busy Bones' Fried Day.
Oh, Busy Bone.
Busy Bone. So now here's a good one for you. So Aaron, Busy Bone is from where?
Bone Thugs and Harmony.
There we go. And now, so Lilah, you at least know where it is. Do you actually know Bone Thugs and Harmony, Lilah?
Mm-mm.
Terrible.
Wait.
Terrible. First of the
Yep.
month. Come on now.
Yep.
Oh,
Nope. See, now what happens is
Ruggish Bone.
there you go. And see, the thing is that it's also not a common that's not a common song that people would think that I would,
No.
one, walk up to the plate to, and two, something that I would actually listen to. Because again, Lilah over here said I was a Raisin Bran kind of guy. Oh man,
I thought you were. That's not
that's what
a
I'm
okay.
saying.
It's
See,
Raisin
okay.
Bran's good. It's
He
not.
went
It's
off
not.
brand
I'm
on
not
that one.
dissing you.
I know I know you weren't dissing me, but like I
Raisin
said,
Bran's good.
I have one athlete over the last few months that I have I would say shocked her with some of the
Uh-huh.
things that I've said, because she would ask me questions. She like, I would never have thought you said that. I said, well, you don't know me well enough yet. And the thing is she's been one of my athletes for almost 4 years now. So I said, you
And
learn something new every single day. So
that's
yeah,
right. Look.
busy bone Friday.
All right. I don't know if I've heard that. I'm gonna have to go listen though. I'm gonna listen right after the show.
Yep.
Because I love some Bone, dude. When the tribute for Eazy-E came out, I think it was East 199 or no, 1999, I believe it was, came out. Like it was huge, and Crossroads was on it.
Yep.
Like, look, Miami music specifically, that's where I got my first taste of hip hop. Like Luke,
DJ
like,
Chipman.
I don't know DJ Chipman.
See, so now you the
Gotta learn.
Miami swag, the Miami music, the
Yeah,
parties, all the things that we have going
Trick
on down
Daddy,
here.
dude,
Yep.
it's a party. But like, and this is horrible. Now, don't anyone. Well, if I say this, everyone's going to go do it. But
Uh
all right, so the group that Luke had, all right, I'm gonna code it. You know what I'm referring to, Daniel?
Yes.
All right, so that was my first taste of like hip hop, and I heard
Oh.
it from someone, of course, and I'm like that. I'm like, all right. So then it was Poison Clan. Have you heard of the Poison Clan?
Yep.
JT Money. All right,
Yep.
huge Poison Clan fan, and then of course Miami bass. Like, all right,
Yep.
when she claps like that, Daniel, I have to shut up. So
Oh.
Okay, the new
that's
topic is thanking the listeners and then being done.
Look at that.
okay.
Wow,
Look at
she
that.
really does keep you in check. See, I got a
She
couple of those
does.
also.
Yeah. I mean, she's my source of truth. That's what it is. When I'm not doing something cool, she'll let me know. So I appreciate you, Lilah.
She
But
keeps you young.
yes, 100%, 100%.
I
Boy,
I don't
appreciate
know
you,
if that's
Lilah.
possible.
Nah, you do it.
Keep it Aaron young.
see,
You
she's
you
always
keeping him
shoving.
young.
I don't know about that one.
Spiritually, Lilah. Spiritually. I didn't say that right. But anyway, dude, thank you so much, man. I am so glad we got connected, because I think there is so much education needed in this field. And also exposing, kids to this is not as just, what you do at school, but it's also a sport in itself.
Yeah.
So many great takeaways, and that's why I say we could talk for hours on this stuff, is because I think your wisdom and your knowledge can really help benefit and help take some of these kids to that next level. I mean, some kids are just born with God-gifted talent, whether it's speed, whether it's height, whatever the case may be, but not all of us were. And by investing in our own bodies, I think that's where we start to truly unlock our potential. So,
Yep.
anyway, man,
I could leave you with something real quick.
let's go.
There's so much wasted talent out there because they're missing this type of this type of thing within their regimen of what they do. It's wasted. They could do so much more if they were just more healthy, if they trained a little bit better.
Eat right.
Eat right. Sleep well.
Oh, we didn't even talk about diets. So like that'll be for part 2 there.
We have to do part 2. There's no doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
Part 2.
Let's do it. All right. Look, thank you everyone for listening. I hope you listened to all 1 hour and let's just throw it out there, 25 minutes worth this episode, because I feel like there's so much for the baseball athlete, the softball athlete, for parents, for coaches. Like there's a lot of great information in this episode. So if you've made it to this far, I hope you really taken something away here, as well as I have. I've got a 9-year-old son, and this is something that I haven't really thought about outside of just what we do at the home. So thank you again, Daniel. Again, for our audience out there, make sure you go like and subscribe, follow. Daniel, how can we find you on social media?
It's I_am exclusive. I also have exclusive weightlifting, and then I have I_am exclusive with a little DM at the end for coaching myself. And basically, if you just follow one of them, you'll be able to follow all the other ones.
Gotcha. Well, cool. Go give Daniel and his gym a follow, because there's so much to learn in this, and I don't think we can ever learn too much about our bodies. So thank you again for everyone listening. And Daniel, when we wrap up the show, we let you start the show, and we're going to let you finish the show, okay? Lilah, get ready, because here's what's going to happen. Daniel, at the end of every episode, our guest always closes our show with, "We'll catch you on the slide," or "Catch you on the slide." So does that make sense? You got that?
Now, all I got to do is say, "Catch you on the slide."
All right. So Lilah, I'm going to turn it over to Lilah. Lilah is going to, in some way, shape, or form, say, "Until next time." And you're going to say, "We'll catch you on the slide." All right.
All right.
All right, Lilah. Are you awake enough for this? Because I saw you yawning there.
No, it's only 6 o'clock, and I'm already trying to go to bed.
I was like, this isn't boring. Like this is great.
No, it wasn't boring. I'm just tired.
You know what? You need to get some rest. You need to go do some weightlifting.
I know.
You did. You from out west?
Yeah. So you're Cali.
Oh, well, that makes sense. I was like, wow, 6 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock over here.
I know. But Lilah,
until next time,
catch you on the slide.
There we go.
We thank you for toughing it out and pushing through. Now, let's go teach the world great sportsmanship, leadership, to go inspire someone through your dedication and excitement for the game. Make sure to smash the like and follow button on all social media at the S.L.I.D.E Podcast Show and the S.L.I.D.E Pod on Twitter. Plus, leave us a review and feedback. Until next time, we'll catch you on the slide.